Hello and welcome to another Clay Creator build. Today's model is our version, or our Key Stage 1 version of Harry Potter. Hopefully you may look something like this at the end. To build him, we are going to need our measuring spoons, our creator cards, tools, all our pots of clay, and if possible an airtight container, maybe some Tupperware, lunchbox, something like that, keeping the clay nice and fresh during the build itself. Before we get started though, I'm going to go over the key facts about Harry. If you are a Harry Potter expert, you may know all this. If you are new to the world of Harry Potter, maybe there'll be some new information there that you can take on board. Maybe useful information that you could use with our activity sheets later on. Okay, so fact number one, if you didn't know, Harry is a very special young wizard. Okay, fact number two, all the Harry Potter books were written by J.K. Rowling, and her birthday is on the 31st of July, which she then shares with Harry Potter. Okay, fact number three, the 7 Harry Potter books have sold over 500 million copies since 1997, this making the Harry Potter book series the best-selling series of all time. Fact number four, Harry and the students travel to their school, or their magic school, through a magical entrance at King's Cross train station in London, and as a tribute to this, at the actual King's Cross train station there is a trolley disappearing into the wall on platform 9 3/4. Fact number five, in the books, Hogwarts, which is Harry's school, is situated or located somewhere in Scotland. Okay, and finally, fact number six, Daniel Radcliffe, who plays Harry Potter in the films, went through around about 160 sets of his glasses during the filming, just obviously breaking, damaging them during all the action and all the filming. Okay, so facts finished, onto the model itself. We'll get started with our black clay, and the first measurement we're going to use is going through our spoons, and we're going to need a number 5 spoon and a number 3 spoon of black clay, please. Again, obviously, as we say in all videos, all instructions, when we're measuring with our spoons, we're trying to fill up but not overflow with the spoon, so a nice flat measurement so the clay isn't over the top. Okay, so I've got my number 5 and my number 3. And remembering to put any spare clay back into the pot, the lid on to keep it nice and fresh. Okay, we'll put those two measurements together, give them a quick stretch, fold them up and roll into a ball. Okay, now what we're going to do with this shape, we're going to roll this into his body. Now everybody can do this slightly different, it's not a major issue how big you make it. We look to try, get rid of all the lumps and bumps, roughly around about 4.5, 5 centimeters using your ruler on the creator card. Okay, so starting with the ball, generally we'll just put down onto work surface, gently roll, try not to press down too hard, get a nice even roll, just to make it a little bit more level. So we should look something like this. Again, I will just gently press down on a work surface to give it the flatter bottom, so we know that that's the bottom of the build. Okay, so at that point, I generally will pop them into the airtight container whilst we move on to his head. Okay, so mixing the head, we'll take 3 colours. We're going to need our white, yellow and red clay. We'll start with the biggest measurement, which will be the white clay. I'm going to fill up a number 4 and a number 1 spoon this time. Okay. Number 4 and number 1. The rest of the clay away. So number 4 and 1 put together. Our yellow clay, we're going to use our creator card using the circles, and we're going to be measuring a 1 centimeter circle this time. So remembering that the 1 centimeter circle is a measurement when you actually make your clay into a ball. Do not squish it down flat, it needs to be a ball, and the ball, once the ball's onto the 1 centimeter, you still need to be able to see the outline of the circle from above, okay? Once you've got that, pop that down, and then we're going to move on to the red. Now the red is kind of a little bit down to yourself. It's a pinch of red is the measurement, which with my fingers is a tiny, tiny pinch. But again, less is better to start off with. You can add more if you're not happy with the colour that you first get, obviously, okay? So all three mixed together, you should get a nice pinky colour, flesh colour. Again, if you're not quite happy with it, you want it a little bit dark, you get a touch more red, but obviously more red you add, the pinkier it'll get. If you've added too much, maybe add a touch of yellow, so on and so on. So I would like a touch more red. So just a tiny pinch, add a touch more, mix it in again. Once I'm happy with that, I'm now going to measure this, okay? So again, we're now going to move on to the spoons. We need to save a little bit of clay for later on, so we are going to measure using a 4 and a 1 of flesh, please. So number 4, this is basically going to be the head, leaving us just a little smidge left over. 4 and a number 1. Which leaves us just a touch left. Now this will be the bit that you'll need again later on, so I'm going to put that into my airtight container. Try not to let it touch the rest of the body. In my container, lid on. Okay, so the actual measurements that we've got our 4 and number 1 of clay. Like I say, this is going to be his head. Take them out, put them together, give them a stretch, and then roll them into a nice ball, trying to get rid of lumps and bumps. We should end up with a nice round ball ready to be added later on. Now, I don't want to leave that out because I want that to stay fresh. So we will again put that into our airtight container just for the time being. Again, keeping them all separate. You don't want these bits touching each other if you can help it. And I put them all to the side. Out of the way. Now comes a delicate, awkward little bit. Okay, so we're going to work on the decoration for his face. Okay, now obviously Harry has glasses, very fine, thin glasses. Now we find this bit's very, very, I say tricky, but it's delicate. You get better with it the more you do, but you may need a little bit of help to get this bit done perfectly. Okay, so the good thing is we're not going to put it onto the head straight away. We're going to build on the desk or on your work surface, see how you do. So again, worst case scenario, you do it until you're happy before you add it onto the head. Okay, so we're going to start off with black, and it's going to be very small measurements. Then we're going to add a little white, and then we're going to add a little blue afterwards. Okay, so with the black, we need a tiny pinch. So the starting point you could use is the 0.5 measurement on your creator card. Take a 0.5 tiny little black ball, and if you can, maybe take your tool and split that in half. Make your little black balls very, very small. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing there on the website. So once I've got my little black balls, all I'm going to do is I'm going to press them down, make them into flat circles. Okay, I've got 1 and 2. The trick here is to try and do everything identical. So we're going to obviously do 2 eyes or 2 glasses. We're now going to do the same with the white. Okay, so I'm going to take my white clay. I'm going to take a tiny little pinch. It's going to have to be less than 0.5. So if it's a tiny one in there, then I'm going to repeat that process by splitting it in half and flattening. So I'm going to be very, very small. As long as my 2 little white balls are even in size, I should be okay. I'll then add them on top of on top of our black dots, circles that we've already got. Press down a touch more. So I'll do that with both of them. Try and get them in the middle of the black circles. Press down. So the effect you should get is a black circle with a white circle in the inside. Okay, if I can get one of these up to you, it should look like this. Okay, so you've done that with them both, and we are then going to do that one more time. This time I'm going to use the blue clay to basically do the part of his eye. Okay, so find your blue clay, and again, the process is obviously it's getting smaller and smaller, so you need a tiny, tiny pinch of blue this time. Split that in half. My clay is it's getting so small now, I'm going to go even smaller. Two tiny, tiny little balls of blue. Again, inside the white dot, press down gently, very, very carefully. Okay. And again, if I can get this up to the camera for you. A blue dot inside. So we've done that with both of them. Like I say, it gets very fiddly and very delicate. You have to be very careful. So it might be that you need a little bit of help to try and get this perfect, if that's what you need. Okay, so these are his glasses, these are his eyes. We need to add some tiny, tiny bits of black for the frame of the glasses once it's on his head. So once you're happy with this part, we're going to move on to adding it onto the head before we do the final little bits, okay? So, from your airtight container, bring your head out. Now, it may have gotten a flat part, which is fine, because now you know that flat part is going to be where it's going to sit onto his body, okay? So, whilst this clay is fresh, it's still going to be squishy, if that makes sense. So, when you are adding your eyes or doing any detail, you could be squashing this part. So we have to be very gentle and very careful whilst we are adding. I would like to put his mouth on now, so I know where to put everything else. Just a little bit of I'm going to give him a little smile. Just with my tool, a little grin. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, give him a little smile. I now know that above there will be his nose, and then above there will be his eyes. So I'm going to put his eyes on. Should look something like this. If you've got him about even, which I just about do have. Okay, so a little bit of the fresh pink that we had that we've left over. Take a tiny, tiny pinch, and you can then add his nose below his glasses. Just a little ball is fine. You can shape that how you want. Again, being careful. Again, I'm going to pop them back down just for a split second. And I'm going to add the little bits of frame that we spoke about. So, touch more black then. And again, we are going to tiny, tiny bits again. I'm going to take a tiny, tiny bit of black. Now I'm going to roll that out into a sausage. As small as I can and as thin as I can. Again, if you need help, don't be afraid to ask, it's absolutely fine. So you need a tiny little bit for the frame at the front, and then we need two at the side. Okay, so I've rolled this out. I'm going to roll it a little more. So trying to get it as thin but as even as possible. Pretty thin now. I'm going to cut enough with my tool. Pop it on as the frame across the bridge of his nose. Okay, so he's got his frame across there now, and I'm now going to add 2 more little bits for the arms of his glasses. Now the arms of the glasses don't need to be perfect. They do kind of need to go on in the same direction. We will be popping some hair on afterwards. That will kind of hide the ends of the glasses. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Gently pop them on. We're looking like this on each side. Okay. At this point, we can add the head and the body together. So I'm going to get him back out of my airtight container. And I'm going to just place the head on. Now, if you've got any problems sticking this, if you haven't got an airtight container and you're trying to work on quickly, and you suddenly have some clay that doesn't stick together, so the head doesn't stick on, it's dried out a little bit, just take a little bit of fresh clay, a touch of black, pop it in the top, maybe even a touch underneath the head as well, and then they will stick together. We should have the start of our Harry Potter. Okay, I'm going to pop them back into my airtight container. Make sure the lid gets placed on. And we're going to now decorate him a little by doing his scarf. Sorry, it's falling over on my Okay, so his scarf is red and yellow. Now, again, very delicate, very small little bits of clay that we're going to work with now. Okay, so yellow and our red. And what we're going to do, we're going to use the creator card to measure out lots of little balls in the 0.5. Okay, now you can do your scarf more or less, you can make it longer, smaller, shorter, it's completely up to you. So we recommend, or we try, to snap off and measure 0.5, give or take. If it's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, it's not a problem, you can change that. And we're going to do 6 of each. You can do 7, you can do 8, each red and yellow. So if I'm very quick, I'm going to do, let's see how quick we can get these measurements done. And what we're going to do, we're basically going to alternate between red and yellow, red and yellow. I'm going to do 7. Now, obviously, you can add to this later on as you go along, and you suddenly think, oh, hold on, I could do with a little bit more, it's not going to quite fit. You can add some more, it's not a problem at all. So, yellow away, lid on, time for red. So I'm going to repeat the process with the red. Again, trying to keep the balls as close to the same size as each other. But like I say, if they're slightly off, it's not a massive problem, it's just if they are way off, you don't want too big. So I suggest as well, as you go along now, put them next to each other, kind of stick them together so they start to have a little bit of a bond. So alternate between the two, so red, yellow, red, yellow. If you want to give them a little press, what we're going to do once they all stick together, we're going to fasten them down and shape them into a scarf. So if they are pressed down a little bit, it's absolutely fine. As you can see, as I'm working along here, just give them a little, should stick together, and we should be looking something like this. Okay, I keep working my way along. Now the measurement we roughly need, once you've got them all out, the full length of the scarf squished down and shaped, it's going to be roughly, you're going to be using the entire length of the ruler. It's going to be around about 13 centimeters. So again, like I say, everybody's going to be slightly different with their measuring. How much you press down. So you may need more than 7, which is why it's perfectly okay to be doing extra and shaping as you go along, adding afterwards if you want as well. So I can see now that I think I'm going to need a few more. So got them all together. Process as we're going along. Okay. So again, once they're together, give them a little squish down, flatten them out a little bit. And just take your tool, can't keep them more as a rectangle shape if you want, flatter sides, whilst also pressing down. So I know I need a couple more. I'm going to put a couple of reds on each side. Let's see how we do with that. Okay. Once you're happy with your scarf, we're going to obviously put it around his neck and cross it over at the front. So on the one that we did earlier, you can see we wrap it around and then cross it over at the front. Again, if you don't want to do that, so perfectly okay. Bring him out. We'll place the scarf on at the back first. Oh, no, the scarf's broken. Quick fix. So I'll put the scarf on at the back first, bring it around the front, and cross it over. Give it a little press down onto the body, the head. And if you need to, just give it a little. So we should have something that looks like this. Okay. Again, try not to be too heavy-handed and squashing the rest of the model. Okay, so once we've got the scarf on and we're happy with that, I will pop him back into the airtight container so his head stays fresh. I want to put some hair on him, so I want his head to still kind of be fresh enough for the hair to stick. Okay, so we are back to another mix now. So if we could get our yellow clay, and this I'm going to fill up our number 2 spoon of yellow. And then we're going on to red, and we're going to fill up our number 1 spoon with red. Okay, so a 2 of yellow, things today, and a red number 1. Okay. And then finally onto the creator card, and we'll do a 1 centimeter creator card with blue clay. And then we're going to mix all 3 of those back together to create our brown for his hair. Now I think this measurement will give us a little extra to play with. So you might want to save a little in case you want to do some styling. So once you've mixed this brown, you'll have more than enough, if that makes sense. So Nice mix. I'm happy with that colour. And the measurement we're looking for his hair, once you've rolled it out, so roughly around about 4 centimeters, 4.5 centimeters. So this is going to be too much, because all we're going to do is press down and turn it into a flat kind of circle. Okay, so basically the diameter of it should be around about 4 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit off, save it just in case I need to. So I think I'm going to take off 1 centimeter ball, so that's the measurement off the, and then use the rest, roll it into a nice smooth ball, and that will be my starting point. Okay, so I'm going to press down. And the good thing about the hair is that we can kind of shape it and mold it and move it around. It's not a problem. So if you don't get it quite how you want it, it's not a problem. Once it's on its head, you can do some styling. Okay, so I roll it into a flat coin. It's just around about 4 centimeters. Okay, down the side, I'm going to just make it sure it's flat in the front so I can style that. Okay, and then I'm going to bring him out of the container. Now, what I should have said, given you an option before, is obviously Harry has a scar above his right eye. Now, my clay's still going to be fresh enough, but I should have mentioned this before, and I'm hoping it's not too late for you, to give him his little Z above his eye, just gently, before the clay dries too much, because if it's dry too much, you're not going to be able to get that done. Pop that back on. Okay, now it's time to kind of just shape his hair around his head. Pop it on. Obviously covering the edge of his glasses. Give it a little quiff at the front maybe if you want, bring it round. Okay, you can use your tool for any kind of decorating, any styling. Again, if you're struggling with this section, parents might be able to help you out. Give you a bit of guidance. So you should, hopefully, look something like this. Okay? And no right or wrong with his hair, it's completely up to you. Okay, so that's the main build itself finished. Okay, over to free play time really, which basically, like I said, is your time to create, basically to give it a little extra. If you're wanting arms, if you want to put a wet wand on there, it's completely to you. So you should have a little bit spare brown if you want to do a wand, little things like that. Free play time in Key Stage 1 is a number 3 spoon of every colour. You can do that 5 times, so technically it's 5 colours of number 3. If you want to just use more than one, it's basically 5 number 3s of whichever combination you want. If you are feeling as if you are ready to progress to the next stage and you want to try and use your scales, if you've got scales, you can use the scales and measure out 1.00 of each colour and do it that way. Obviously, if you don't have scales, get in touch. You can order through the website. Same with the clay. If you are running low on clay, get in touch. Order at claycreators.com. Other than that, there are the word searches and activity sheets that you can also download from our website. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you're happy with your version of Harry Potter, and we shall see you again soon. Thank you.